Hi everybody, this is my friend Andrea. Andrea, I got a quick question for you.
Yes.
How do we know each other?
Are we allowed to talk about that?
You tell me.
Through friends in a program
Okay.
where everyone can get their lives together when they've gone too far off the deep end and want to not be in the deep end anymore.
Because everybody knows that I'm in recovery.
Okay, cool. I'm very open about my recovery.
Would you like to talk about your recovery?
I'm supposed to speak at a meeting on Thursday, so this is a good warm-up. Yeah, basically about 10 years ago, I was in a really bad place, about 20 pounds heavier, full of bruises, covered in
I saw that
bruises.
picture on
Yeah.
Instagram.
I mean, I posted a picture because I was so angry about the Hunter Biden thing, about his recovery and his drug problems being brought into a political campaign. I was like, you don't know, like people can actually overcome their addictions and have normal lives. And yeah, I feel like that's what I've been able to do, and I've met some wonderful people along the way, and you have been one of the shining lights.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being my friend.
And anyway, thank you very much.
Yes. I feel like it's the perfect time to go to rehab right now. It's like, I have COVID.
Which is actually a really great segue into my next question. From what I've experienced during this whole COVID pandemic apocalypse thing, people have had two kinds of reactions. One of them is one of fear and anxiety that equates to like paralyzation, and just like in that world of hurt. And then I know other people who went out and totally reinvented themselves. And where on the spectrum have you fallen? And there's another follow-up to that, because we're going to talk about your little project later.
I really like this question, actually, because I feel like I'm such a Libra, where it's been a balance of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect balance, always messy. I mean, like when this all started, it didn't feel real, and it felt like 2 weeks, and like, as an alcoholic, like I like being in my special place where I don't have to talk to people. And so I was kind of digging it. And like I live downtown where all like the George Floyd protests and everything were. So like I was avoiding my place, and I was at my boyfriend's place in Laurel Canyon for the most part. And like we were just, like playing video games and just hanging out and watching the world fall apart on the television screen.
Mm.
And he's also a hermit, so we were really enjoying it. And then like, little parts of the real world started kind of seeping into the consciousness of the surroundings. And there's been some panic. And as a musician, it's been weird, because then all of a sudden it's like, okay, here you are, and you're away from all the things that feed the ego and tell you who you are and tell the world who you are. And then it's like, oh wait, but who am I? If you strip away the concerts and like all the ego boosting stuff, it's like, who am I inside? And that has been an interesting journey, because I have been panicked, and like sometimes going back to the musician thing, like I wasn't writing songs for a really long time because I felt so overwhelmed by the news that I couldn't create. Like I had no energy left, because I had to do yoga, meditate, like talk to friends, like all this upkeep to keep this okay, where I didn't have anything left to put out. But I don't know. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
It's like,
well, the follow-up being the fact that you're a musician, and I wanted to you said something very interesting, that you couldn't create anything. Has there been a gestation period now going on for you? I mean, creatively?
well, I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do with myself, because I can't write songs like I would try. And meanwhile, I'm watching everyone, and not everyone, that is, exaggeration, but a lot of friends who are thriving in this. They're like, I just did a record, and like I've written a book, like all these people. I'm like, how are you doing this? And then I started thinking, like, maybe I'm not a real musician, like maybe this has all been like this weird facade, and it's not real. And so I didn't know what to do with myself. And I actually, like, what was funny is, because there actually was like a tie-dye kick in the world, that I think that I was like in the beginning of that, like I might have ushered that in. I'm kidding. But like what happened was I was sitting there and like I had this tie-dye kit that I had bought like a year ago after I went to a friend's birthday party, and like the big craft at her birthday party was like, let's all tie-dye.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, like I've got this thing, I have a lot of time on my hands, I have this beautiful backyard to work in, like what can I dye? And so I just started dyeing everything, and it turned into an addiction, and I spent way too much money on red dyes. Like I have quite a collection, but it was like every day on Amazon, and then the prices started going up because everyone was tie-dyeing. I'm like, no, get away! And, yeah, but like it really occupied my brain and my hands, and it didn't allow me to like panic.
So tell me a little bit about Don't Die Tie-Dye.
So Don't Die Tie-Dye was me trying to not die.
Okay.
So in avoiding being social and hanging out with people.
So you're pretty direct with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think, not only you, but I've been getting a lot of people who have been reaching out to me saying, how do I cope in these times? And I would say, you should actually contact Andrea, because she's saying to everybody, don't die.
This is the message, and any friend I've sold these to, at a friend price, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the message of 2020. It's like the world is throwing all these things that are going to kill you at you, and like this is the message of 2020. So in trying not to die, I'm actually encouraging my friends to also not die.
It's a wonderfully positive message.
Yeah, don't tie-dye. It works, and I was doing masks, and I did hoodies, and I did socks, and I did underwear, and So yeah, this is it's a thing that I've been doing, and it actually made me feel like I had a place to put my creativity when I couldn't find words or music to express myself.
If somebody wants to purchase a Don't Die tie-dye bag, where should they go?
Well, you can link me on just Boss Wasse on Instagram, but then there's don't_die_tie_dye, because someone already had the other name. But they hadn't used it for like 2 years, so I figured maybe they got bored of tie-dyeing, which, might happen.
Okay. All right. So if anyone else is interested in one of these lovely bags, masks, underwear, t-shirts, hoodies, or sweatshirts, link in bio.
Yeah.
So we share another commonality, and that is that we're both Canadian. Sorry, not sorry.
No, sorry, not sorry.
But you say it much better than I do.
Well, we forget.
Well, it's been a long time. I was only there for 3 years. You were there a bit longer than I was.
A long time.
Where did you grow up in Canada?
I grew up in London, Ontario.
Nice.
So 2 hours south of Toronto, 2 hours north of Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah, right in the snow belt. So.
And what was the first instrument you picked up?
Well, my mother's a concert pianist and teacher, so the first instrument I tried was piano, but mothers should not teach their children how to play instruments. And
why is that?
She would get very fed up with me, and I would throw temper tantrums, because, alcoholics as children can kind of show signs of being unruly at a young age.
I heard that we don't like to be told what to do.
Oh, I think that's the thing. I definitely think that's the thing. Did not play piano. Wish I had learned, but I picked up a guitar when I was about 14, 15, and then I just started writing songs, and I took some lessons, and then, I had this, hippie guitar player who taught me how to play, what's her name, died at 27.
Janis
Joplin, there we go, some Janis Joplin tunes.
Piece of My Heart or something?
It was the Bobby McGee song.
Oh,
that was
I could see you singing that.
But it's weird because I actually love him for this, because he was like this old hippie, and I just wanted to play guitar. And he's like, okay, well, you need to learn to play and sing at the same time. And I'm like, I don't want to sing. And he actually encouraged me and taught me how to play and sing at the same time, which is, really amazing. And so, and then I started a band, and then I've just been doing it ever since. So, I started this band when I was 14, 15, and then we kept going until 2006. And so there were a bunch of different members, but it was pop rock. and we got to tour a bunch. We put out records in Indonesia and Japan. So we got to go to those places too, and we toured Canada, and down here we only played a couple shows, but it's weird. I was watching the Tsunami movie with my boyfriend last night or the night before, and it made me remember, like, I was in Indonesia on a tour. Like, we were there for a whole month, and then we got home maybe 2 or 3 days before the tsunami hit, and then I was getting calls like, oh my god, I'm so glad you're home. Like, it was so weird because I could have been there, you know? I want to talk more about the pandemic and the doom and gloom.
Okay, well, come on then. All right.
Okay, this is the funny thing. My friends are making fun of me. Like, yeah, it does help, actually. Thank you for your time. But, like, I'm so invested in the politics of the U.S. right now. Like, I've never paid as much attention to an election as I have.
Why do you think that is?
I feel like because it's like good versus evil. Like, number one, my visa's up for renewal too, so I'm like, okay, it would be much nicer under a Biden administration probably. But I don't know, it's like I keep looking at it and I'm like, okay, this is amazing. Yes, it's amazing that Biden won, like, wonderful. And like people were shouting on the street, having like Laurel Canyon was alive. People were yelling. It was a beautiful thing, but then at the same time you're like, wait, like almost half the country voted for the other guy.
Yeah.
And like that is fucking scary. And you have to look at it and it's like, okay, well, I understand some, you know, like definite Republicans who look at the party and it's like, these are the values that I have, but like the other people who are falling victim to the QAnon stuff, and I say victim because they are preying on the gullible and the vulnerable, and it's just like, you know, I've seen people I used to be friends with, I've had their stories forwarded my way, and I'm like, oh shit, they got them too, you know? And like, I feel like because we're all stuck inside that our brains are gonna be like, oh, what is this interesting story, you know? So that scares me. Like, that scares the shit out of me.
Do you remember the National Enquirer? The rag?
Yeah,
it's
I
still
used
out
to
there.
love that.
Yeah.
Like, I love all the alien stuff because like it's not violent and it's not dangerous.
Well, it also wasn't real.
Right.
It was just like something that we would read and like have a laugh over. I think when I was really young, I was like, wait a second, what is this? They're real? No, they're not real. And then, you know, I got a little bit more, I got somewhat older and I was like, oh, it's just a rag. It's just like, they're just selling, not really lies, but yeah. I mean, there's, I think, a nugget of truth into everything that they write. Yeah. But they don't go all the way out and say it. And now it's like this reality TV presidency that we just had, who was pushing, like, it's basically, it's a National Enquirer that this same thing with the QAnon, and people all of a sudden, like, these conspiracy theories are beginning to take form and people are believing them, and it's like, no, wait, you don't get it. Like, it's just propaganda. It's just an indoctrination. And why do you believe in this?
I just feel like everyone's kind of fucked up right now.
It's all about TV ratings. And Trump sells.
What he cares about too, though, like when he tweets, it's like ratings at Fox News went down, like because he's attacking Fox News now. But like, it's all about ratings versus human lives. Like,
it's also ratings for, you know, the New York Times and the Washington Post, and if it's not ratings for them, of course, it's viewership and membership, subscription fees. And the same thing goes with like CNN and Fox and MSNBC. They're feeding it. However they fall politically in the scale, they're still propagating this idiot. And I always thought, like, what would it be like if they just stopped, like, going to his pressers and stopped, like there are other things going on in the world that are newsworthy, and unfortunately I only hear about that on NPR. Like, I love Gen Xers. I think they're going to save the world.
I hope so.
I really do. I think, like, there is hope, and it's called, like, 20-somethings right now. I just see it. I literally, I do see it.
Yeah. That's wonderful news. I was telling you earlier about my 22-year-old Uber driver.
Yeah.
He was talking
Tell me.
about
Yeah. Can you tell me about that story again?
It was just like this adorable fucking 22-year-old. Like he was really great, and his parents own Mexican restaurants in Pasadena, and he was just such a delight. Because it's funny. Like,
how'd you get on the conversation?
Well, I have conversations. I take Uber everywhere because I don't drive and I don't take the bus anymore. It's been like since March. So basically my cost of living has skyrocketed. Really. So anyway, so I at first during quarantine and everything, I wasn't taking Ubers anymore. I'm like, oh, I kind of missed my Uber trips because I talk to Uber drivers, and I love
I used
those
to drive
conversations.
Lyft back in Boston.
See, you have the best conversations with strangers, right? Because they're not in your bubble. Like going back to the social dilemma, it's like you're out of your bubble with these people that you would normally not talk to, probably. Right. And so, it was funny. I had this amazing ride the other day with this guy who was playing Neil Young, and it was his birthday. And I was like, "Oh, it's Neil Young's birthday today." He's like, "You're the first person to catch on to that," And so we talked about music bios and everything, and that was great. There was one driver that I had, and she was a little old lady and very right-leaning, and she said that basically America started going to hell when they took God out of government and schools. I'm like, okay, we're having this. And I told her, I was like, I can't vote here, but I would have voted for Biden, So I was like, here's who I am. And we were able to connect on cats because she had 3 cats. I'm like, okay, let's, it's like trying to find something.
Yeah, find that common denominator.
Right, okay.
And I think if we all did that.
Right. Because I'm not going to be like, you're stupid for thinking that, I'm not going to shame the person. But, so I had this really cute little, he was really sweet, this driver the other night, and we were talking about COVID, and because, I always ask how people are doing in this, because I think, people who are driving right now are really putting themselves at risk. Yeah, it's weird, because, a friend of a friend actually passed away. He was only 41, and he got it, early on, and they kept sending him back because he wasn't testing positive, and then he finally tested positive, and he was in a coma, he lost the leg, and then it looked like he was going to need lung transplants, but then he just died, and it's just hitting so many people so differently. Yeah. That's why I'm not fucking around with it. I don't know if I would survive it, but even if I did, knowing that I maybe passed it on to someone else who wasn't so lucky, no, it's still out there. It's really aggressive too. The young 22-year-old Uber driver that I had, though, he was just talking about how his friends were out there partying still. He's like, I'm not doing that because I see my mother and I see my grandmother, and I can sacrifice a year of my life in social activities if it means that they're safe. And
amazing self-awareness from such a young person.
Yeah.
As I said, I think there is hope out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely.
We're leaving whatever is left of this planet to them. I think they fully realize that they're fucked if they don't if we don't start making big changes.
Yeah,
it's too bad.
It's weird, and then you've got people who are like, it's the liberal places where everyone's dying. It's like, dude, this is a fucking pandemic. No one knows what they're doing, and people are losing money, and social workers are being worked, fucking worked right now.
They're the first ones who need to get the vaccine.
Yeah. I just had an Uber driver whose daughter is a social worker, and I was like, please thank her for that because it's such a thankless job, and they should get the vaccines. They're the ones who are trying to actually make a difference. I write pop songs.
And you write wonderful pop songs.
Thank you. It's I have not cured cancer. I write songs about boys.
Well, I mean, just to get onto it, there's it's not easy writing a good pop song. It's not easy trying to find that hook, that hummable tune that is an earworm.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet.
Andrea, where would they find all of the different iterations of your, as an artist, under Andrea Wasse? And then Digital Daggers, I think is another.
I wear many hats.
You do?
Well, basically it's musical ADD, because I do have ADD. I don't know if you can tell.
Musical ADD.
Musical ADD, where I have Andrea Wasse stuff, which is kind of dark country, whatever, which does well in the film TV world. Basically, you know, if there's a murder, my song is playing. And so I have that, and then I have Digital Daggers, which is the goth pop band. And that also, if someone's getting murdered, our music is playing, mostly vampires with that stuff. Wait, there's more.
What else?
And then I have this other band, and we're working on our EP, so they lost their singer. She quit the band. She didn't pass away, but and so a friend of mine was like, hey, you know, I know you sing. Friends of mine have this band, and I'm like, sure, yeah, like I'll meet them. And then I went in and I wrote a song with them on the spot, and so we have been. It's very like Mazzy Star. It's basically every time we're working, I'm like, this is a record I wish I'd made in the '90s. Like we would definitely be on Lilith Fair. Like we would definitely be with the Cardigans.
What's the name of the project?
It's called Night Jacket, all one word. So that's really, it's fun. I love that. I've been working with this producer who's mixing it. His name is Adam Lazis. But he's worked with PJ Harvey and Helium and all these people, so we're in the studio and I'm like, tell me more about PJ. What color does she like? I love her.
Yeah.
I feel like
So do
we're
I.
related.
Yeah. I'm like totally crushing on her, and
Yeah,
like
she's
every bit and piece.
Yeah. She's so good. Especially like the red dress, blue eyeshadow period with Come On Billy and all that.
Yeah, with a really short dress, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And then she plays guitar.
she's just like fucking close. She plays guitar, she plays bass too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And saxophone.
Yeah, and saxophone. I know. She's one of those people, like, one thing that I've been doing with my time is, like, I also didn't really want to listen to music during quarantine. It was like, I don't feel joy in this right now. Like, even...
You did not want to listen to
No,
music?
it's weird. Like, I went through all these things because, like, yeah, I've got so much going on, but even, like, I didn't write songs, and then I renewed my deal with Sony, thank God, but I was like, I feel weird signing this because, like, I'm not a songwriter anymore. You know, even though I am, but in that moment I was like, I don't know. But so I started trying to capture that joy again. You know, it's like, okay, well, what do I want to listen to? And like going back to my teenage years when I was so excited about shows and I would go see them and just live and be like, I can be in a band too, and like all these bands that inspired me, right? And so PJ Harvey was one of those too. So I'm going back to like all my 90s records and the ones that like made me feel like Hole, you know, and actually Hole was one of those bands. But yeah, like PJ Harvey, that record is definitely one of them, and it's been really...
Songs of the City, Songs
Yeah,
of the
oh, that
Sea.
one's so good too.
That's
But
amazing, that
I've just
record.
been listening to all this stuff that I listened to like before. Like I don't listen to the newer stuff, and I'm just going back and having nostalgia.
Interesting. How do you write a song? What?
How do you write a song?
What?
Well, there are definitely like some moments where a song will come to me and I'll feel special about it. Like a lyric will come or a melody sometimes.
Can it
both at the
happen
same time.
absolutely anywhere?
Yeah,
I mean, do you have a...
it's mostly in the shower. I have shower fairies. And if I'm in a session, even I'll go to the bathroom and then the idea will come to me there. Sometimes it feels like work. Sometimes I feel like I can't rhyme anymore, and like it's just like rhyming and like, you know, because it is kind of like, you know, as I've been doing it, like I signed my first deal with Sony, well, EMI back in the day was 1999. I've been with them for 21 years, right? And so like even then I started out, I was writing songs, and then they were like, hey, do you want to write with other artists or for other things? And I was writing for Canadian Idol, which was a thing, and like it was horribly uncool what I was doing. I'm like, this feels totally uncool, but it actually allowed my band to like take advances and go tour and stuff. And so then I moved to LA.
Because you've been sober now for a lot longer than I have. Like, what do you got, 10, 12 years?
I'm almost 10.
Okay.
Almost 10, but like...
And you've been at Sony for 21 years.
21 years, oh, that's crazy.
So half of it...
I mean, like, I was a bad drunk. I was a bad. And I basically, like, I didn't feel like I fit in, and I felt uncomfortable, and so the discomfort made me seek alcohol, and so that I could be part of, and that's, you know, like, I remember when my mom would tell people, oh, Andrea's in a band now, they're like, Andrea, because I was so shy, like, I would hide behind my mom, like, I was so shy, I still am, but, but alcohol helped me do that, and so like that was always part of playing live. You know, it was like I had to drink a certain amount of drinks. It was usually around 3 right before I'd go on stage. Otherwise, I couldn't perform. And so, like, even trying to express myself, I'm like, oh, I have to have my writing wine, you know. And so when I got sober, I was like, I was really scared that I wouldn't be able to perform again, and or write. And the thing is, like, that actually did take a bit of time because I had to actually be okay with myself enough to express myself,
right,
and allow that. And playing live, like, that took a minute, and also I kind of tiptoed my way onto that. I was like, oh, I'm gonna play in my friend's band and play backups, you know, sing backups and play keyboard or whatever. So I got to be on stage without being the focus.
okay.
And so it kind of like, you know, and then
little
all of a
baby
sudden,
steps.
right, baby steps, and this is over the years too. And then finally I'm like, you know what, I really love playing live, and then lockdown.
Like your friend, the Uber driver, said, this is just a year. We'll just write it off. I think most of us will have learned something about ourselves in this year. What I did was I stopped watching television.
Whoa.
Cut it all out.
Are you still?
I haven't watched TV.
Yeah.
After Rose and I broke up, all I had was my computer, but I was in an apartment that had, in Italy, that had all the cable channels. I could have watched anything like on HBO. They have it also there.
Yeah.
And I refused to watch even like the 3rd season of Westworld, even though I heard it sucked. Or like High Maintenance, or all my favorite shows on HBO. And I went on like television lockdown, and I'm still on it.
I've been overdosing on television. Watched all the shows, all the good ones. There's this really great show called The Queen's Gambit, which I think you'd like because the costuming is really
Right,
cool.
I've heard some really good things about it. I will say this though, I'm looking forward to the 4th season of The Crown.
The Crown, oh yeah. Margaret Thatcher, Gillian Anderson,
Yeah.
that's going to be exciting. But I couldn't read for the longest time either, like in quarantine. Like I couldn't make my brain sit still enough, and like I
At
used
the
to
very
read
beginning,
all
I
the
couldn't
time.
either.
Like I used to read all the time though. I was like, and it also was commuting, so I'd be on the bus reading my book. I always had a purse book, and like I have not been reading, and I feel it. Like when I'm having conversations with people, I'm like, what is a fucking word? Like, yeah. So
I started cooking.
you started cooking, yes, you did.
I
Yeah.
started TikTok. I started eating 3 square meals a day.
Wonderful. How do you feel?
Well, it's funny, people always ask me, how come you're not like 300 pounds? And I say to them, well, first of all, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm using all natural, not natural ingredients, but you know, they probably came out of the ground a week ago.
Right.
The dishes are really simple. It's just tomatoes, garlic, and olive oil, and a pasta. And maybe zucchini, or maybe eggplant, or maybe a little bit of pancetta.
Yeah.
And I don't make these huge portions. What I learned early on in my whole new kicking revival is at first I was making too much pasta because I was taking the bag and pouring it into the boiling water.
Yeah.
Then someone suggested to me, why don't you put it in your plate or in your bowl and then take a little bit out because it gets bigger when it's in the water.
Oh.
I said, oh my God, why didn't I ever fucking think of that?
Oh
So
my God.
that's what I do now.
Okay.
How hungry am I?
Yeah.
And then I just take some out, I put it back in the bag, and then I just pour that into the boiling water. And I get like this, you ever hear that expression? I feel my food.
Yeah. Okay, you feel your food. Those videos when you're like out and about in Italy and eating all the treats, I'm like, fuck you.
Cigarettes.
That is my motto for this entire fucking year. It's like, we could be doing worse. We could be. Like, whenever I'm talking to friends and we're all whining about the same
We could have
things,
picked up.
You know, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we could have picked
That's
up,
great.
but like, it's like, you know, we're all a little bit heavier than we used to be. We are all buying things that we don't need, and it's like, okay, but we're still alive and we're still sober, and we are fine.
So listen, Andrea, I got to tell you a couple of things.
Yes.
This is the best and longest interview I've had so far.
Oh my God, I feel like I meandered so much.
No, it's wonderful.
Okay, great.
You know, the other reason why we started this whole thing,
Yeah.
because I made a jacket for you. So
You
I'm
wear
gonna
it. I don't
give you
know
the
which
gem.
band I'm gonna wear this with.
Well,
on
you know what?
stage.
You don't even have to wear it for a band, but I just want you to wear it well.
Thank you.
It is your color. It's black. Now, I made this while you're still in your whole goth phase.
Well, I mean, am I out of it? I
No,
don't
I hope
know.
not.
I just know.
Well, first of all, black goes with everything. It's very
Yes.
slimming. It looks great on you.
Yes, thank you.
And
Thank
that's
you,
that's
thank
the key
you.
right
Thank you,
there.
thank
That
you,
it
thank
looks
you.
really great on
Yes.
you. And it's a cotton and linen blend. So yes, you can wear it all over California.
Yeah.
At least 12 months out of the year. And of course, it's light enough to wear on stage. Wonderful.
I love this. This is really cool. The stitching.
I think I give you the Edgar Allan Poe buttons.
Oh, this is cool. Yes, you did.
Those, I only made a couple of hundred of those buttons. I don't think I'll be making them anymore, at least, well, they're going to take a sabbatical, and I'll move
Okay.
to another button for the next iteration of these jackets.
Oh my god.
All right, kiddo.
Yeah.
Andrea, thank you so much for this
Oh my
interview
God, thank
right
you,
now.
Brad.
Would you
Oh,
like to
yeah.
say something before I shut this off?
Just be kind to other humans. 2020.
And what else?
And don't die.